Welcome back to Smok'n Jay's Garage. I've got some graphene tire dressing here, and I was going to use it for something completely different, and I did, and I'll show you that at the second part of the video. But while I had it out, I thought I'm actually going to see what it does on a tire, because this is a relatively new product. I've had it for a month or two now, and I haven't actually used it yet, so I want to give it a shot. Right now, I've got my tire cleaned. I used tire and rubber cleaner, and it's pretty nice and clean, and I'm going to throw a little bit of shine on here, and I'll show you the contrast, and then I'll show you what I really did with this, and it's actually going to be pretty cool. So the directions say to apply this with their hex grip applicator. I actually have one, but I didn't want to go get it out. I'm using the sponge. The sponge works pretty good. So I'm going to spray a little bit on the sponge, and I'm going to just put a little bit on the tire. You actually don't need a whole lot. And whether you're using a sponge or the hex grip applicator, you can get pretty good into these lugs. Got a little bit of snow coming on here, but we shouldn't be affected by that too much, I don't think. So we've got a little bit, I probably put a little bit too much on maybe, because we can see that it's got a pretty wet look on it. But that's alright, because you can just wipe it off. Get yourself a microfiber towel, or we could even turn our sponge around. Kind of wipe it down. They do recommend that you let it dry for a few minutes before moving to avoid any sling. Let it actually dry on a little bit, or if you put too much, to wipe it off with a microfiber towel. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to a car show and you've seen people have just like a pile of frickin' tire dressing. They just spray the crap out of it and it just runs down, and they have a little pile of it over there. That's got to make a mess when they take off. But we got this here pretty good. So we don't have a real lot of shine to it, but we've got a really nice black on it, and oftentimes that's what I prefer personally, is just a nice clean black. You can see how we've definitely got more shine than we do on just a clean tire, but we don't have a super glossy shine, and some people like that. So what I am going to do is now that we've got that contrast there, we'll still have it over here. I'm going to clean this one as well, and I'm going to put a second coat on it. We're going to have to let it dry for a few minutes. So I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to let it dry, and then we'll come back as soon as it's dry, and we will put a second coat on it. Alright, it's been about 10 minutes or so. This is pretty dry. If you're doing this on a nice warm summer day, by the time you get your fourth tire done, you could probably come right back around to your first one and put the second coat on it. So we're just going to spray a little bit on our applicator again, and a little bit on the wheel. And that's going to give us a nice wet look that you may be looking for. Holy crap. Almost lost that. That's going to give us a lot more shine. And now you could do a third if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to peel these off. You got a pretty good contrast here of where we had just rubber. We'll have those all around, actually. I didn't have these on. It gets cold, it doesn't stick very well, so you can see I leaked through a little bit, but pretty good contrast where you've got a nice shiny gloss versus where you've got more of just a plain. I got some spots here due to the snow that's melting on there. But you can see we've got a pretty nice contrast here between, got that snow on there again. Pretty nice contrast between what you've got here, just a clean tire versus one coat, and here where you've got just a clean tire and you've got that second coat on there. Gives you a little bit more shine. And you could do a third if you wanted to get even more shine. But now I'm going to show you what I really wanted to try this out on, and we'll head over to the other side of the truck. Alright, so what I really wanted to do today was clean my WeatherTech mats. So what I did was just vacuum this one, and you can see that there's not like loose dirt on there, but it's not exactly clean either. And it's kind of hard for me to pull out because I have just the one piece that runs across both. It's not just the driver and passenger side. Same thing with the back. I've got my Huya underneath here, so it's a pain in the ass to get this one out as well. So this one you see is a lot cleaner. I took some Waterless Wash because it's winter now. It's hard to pull this stuff out and actually wash it. Well, it's hard to pull it out and wash it anytime because it's a long piece. So I used my Waterless Wash and I washed this, and it came a lot better, but it's still got, it's dull. You can kind of see, you know, a little bit of dirt marks and stuff on it. So we're going to go around to the other side, and I'm going to show you how I rectified that. Alright, so I took some Adams tire and rubber cleaner. That is good for rubber and plastic. And I went ahead and I cleaned this better. Now, one thing that I didn't mention was Armor All. Obviously, you can clean that with Armor All, but I don't like doing that because it gets slippery. I want it to be nice and black, but I don't want it to be slippery. So you can see this, we got really nice, we got black. It's not slippery at all. But if you want just a little bit more pop to it, that's where I used the Graphene Tire Shine. And take a look at this. Still, get a little snow in here. We got a really nice gloss to it, but it is still not slippery at all. I don't know, now that I pulled it out of the garage, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but if you get in on there, you can probably see the line of where I started and stopped. And there's a pretty distinctive line there. And I don't know if it's going to show up very good here now. You can see here where I started and stopped. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera. But let's go around to the other side, to the driver's side that it looks really crappy, and I'll show you how I did that. Alright, so I'm going to use some Adams Waterless Wash, and I'm going to use a tire brush. Go ahead in there and get a quick look at what that looks like. Again, that's just vacuumed. And I'm going to spray a little bit of this here. And I'm going to just scrub it with our brush to get in little crannies. Okay, so I hit this with a Waterless Wash and I wiped it down with a towel. You want to take a look at that. It's got a pretty good shine to it right now, but as soon as that dries, it is going to dry exactly like this. It's going to be dull again. So I'm going to put a little bit of tire and rubber cleaner on. This is good for rubber and this is good for plastic. So I'm just going to spray a little bit on there. I don't need a whole lot, and I'm going to wipe that with my towel again. I'm going to wipe that just a little bit better, and then I'll let you come back and take a look at that. Now this is looking super shiny right now, but it is going to, as it dries, it's going to get a little bit duller, and it is going to look exactly like what it did on the passenger side. So we're going to let this dry. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we will put the tire dressing on it. Okay, so I put that, and it's dried, mostly dry. You can see that it lost a little bit of its shine, but it's still very clean, and you could leave it just like that if you wanted to. I want to get it just a little bit shinier. That's where I'm going to throw on this graphene dressing. So I'm going to spray a little bit on my applicator, same as I did with my tire. And I'm going to give it just like 3 squirts in there. I don't need a whole lot. And I'm going to wipe that in. Look at that shine that we got in there. Try to get in there just a little bit closer. Check that out. We got a really, really nice shine to it. But we are going to have a little bit of slippery residue that even when it dries is going to be a little bit slick. So unlike the tire that we don't really care if it's a little bit slick, I don't want that slick on here. So I'm going to take a microfiber towel and I'm just going to kind of like buff it off to make sure that you get that little bit of, like it's going to keep the shine in, but it's going to get the slipperiness off of it. So we did get a little bit of that shine off of there, but we got all of the slickness off. If I run my hand on there now, it's nice and smooth, but it is not at all slippery or slimy, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want any slickness to that. So the graphene tire dressing worked really good on that. Since our last video, we did hit our 500 subscribers, so thank you guys for that. Our next video is probably going to be this truck going to Lindgren Supercars, and we're going to do some work to it. In addition to a tune, we got some other things going on. So we're probably going to be bringing it over there this week, I believe, so you're definitely going to want to stay tuned for that. If you're watching this channel for the first time and you haven't already, and you want to, boom, please subscribe.